What is going on out there, peeps? All right, everything seems to be moving. And I mean, everything in all different areas seem to be moving at like neck breaking speed. Every day there's like a ton and ton of information. And it's weird because you don't only have the news that you're trying to go through and pick things up from that you can share. You also have all these different communities. You know what I mean? I have the Iraqi Dinar community, the Vietnam Dong community, the news that's related to that, the gold silver community, the gold silver news as I watch it. You know what I mean? All these different areas, cryptocurrencies, and they all seem to be there's so much chatter between them, and the weird thing is that they're overlapping or they're intersecting with one another. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to put it into words, but you definitely can see there's a lot of something seems to be happening. I've not been able to put my thumb on it directly. I can only just say it looks and appears to me definitely like there's some type of global currency reset getting ready to happen. Okay, we know the gold and silver reset. That's a hands down. That's a give me. And people can say, what do you think? If you're into any of these investments, any of them, and you're expecting to be rich overnight, you're sadly mistaken. We don't know. That's the thing, but we feel it's going to be soon. People are going like, how soon? When do you think? When do you think? Man, I went back and watched videos on Iraqi dinar. People have been saying that now for a long time. Now, having said that, what I'm trying to say is this. You can't get into investments and hope that the next day you're rich. Well, I mean, you can hope it. But you know what I mean? We are all just waiting for like a domino, like a domino would be pushed so everything gets set in motion. For me, when I watch these, when I read the news on these things, this seems to me like all of them are waiting for something. It's been weird because I haven't been able to quite put my finger on it. And they're all what I think it is. What I think it is the global currency reset is relying on what's going to happen with gold and silver. I can't help but feel that way. There's a reason for it. All right, everybody at Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same name as my YouTube channel. I will leave a link in the description. It's free to come join because in here we do talk about the Vietnam Dong, NESARA, GESARA, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. It's free to join. The link is in the description. Come join us. I have a second group called the Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes. This is where you do all the political stuff, not in Pimpy's Investment Chat. We don't want to hear about politics in there or anything that most people consider conspiracy. Come do that over here. The Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes does cover things that are current events, politicals, and as well as a lot of other so-called things that people call conspiracy. Let's get into Vietnam. Fitch Rating says Vietnam outperforms amongst Asia's frontier sovereigns. Okay, so as we've been reading over and over, so the Vietnam is kicking tuchus, as you know. These factors should help Vietnam's BB rating, which we affirm in April 2020, while revising the outlook of the stable from a positive, from stable to positive. I like that. That was the change in their policies. Anyways, it goes on here to talk about what they're looking at. The economy is going to expand. You know what I mean? Despite the Rona, okay? But you come on down here and you start looking for things like this, vulnerable to shifts in external demand. Vietnam's external outlook remains vulnerable to shifts in external demands, according to the credit rating. The country has benefited from the trade diversions. Definitely, there's no doubt about that with what's going on between the U.S. and China. Not to mention now that China has sent its favorite little export out to the world, the coronavirus, that now there are a ton of countries really just pulling out of China. They've had enough. As a matter of fact, I watch all kinds of different newses from different country on YouTube, and it's what we're not talking about here is the fact that China is literally picking on a lot of different countries all at the same time. Japan, India, Vietnam, Philippines, United States. We got battle groups over in the South China Sea right now. The disputed territories, battle groups. We now have, I think, 3 aircraft carriers. Nobody's talking about it here in the United States at all. None. China is pissed that the whole world is turning on them. They had expected to be in control of the entire world by 2025. Look up what China 2025 is about. They had anticipated to be the world's leader in economies, technology, military, the whole 9 yards, but that has all fallen apart thanks to Trump. So here we go again. Vietnam shares of U.S. apparel and textiles imports rose by 15.5% between January and April of this year, from 12.9% for the first 4 months of 2019. So even with the Rona, here's the funny thing that people don't realize. The reason why they didn't do a lot better is because they couldn't do business with other countries because the countries are closed down. Vietnam was up running, running like no big deal. They didn't have a reason to shut down. Whatever they were doing, they were controlling the Rona really good. And so they were ready to do business. They just didn't have anybody to do business with. The country also attracted a healthy $8.7 billion in realized capital investment from overseas in the first half of the year. Yeah, I would say it's a pretty good chunk of cheese, man. Anyways, as elsewhere, there are still restrictions on inbound tourism, and remittances are declining. Tourism directly accounts for 10% of the GDP, with the higher contributions if indirect spillovers effect are considered, while remittances were worth 6% of the GDP in 2019. So yeah, this is not surprising. I just want to show you, as usual, Vietnam's outlook for 2020 looks very positive. This is a great place to think about going long-term investments. It is one of the places that I am eyeballing. That's for dang sure. All right, what else is going on over there? So look, like I said, big investors pour money into Vietnam's manufacturing industry. So here's the funny thing, that Vietnam is China's China. So what they would do is they would send stuff over there to be made and produce, and then they would send it back to China, who would just slap their own tags on her and then export it into other countries. So anyways, instead of injecting money into real estate or service sector, which allows profit for a short term, Vietnam's most powerful corporations are investing in the processing and manufacturing industry. I still would like to get aboard somehow on this whole real estate thing going on over there in Vietnam. After opening an electronics company factory worth 600 billion, that's Vietnam dollars, of course, some months ago, that name of that person is the name of this company, said it was part of a plan to increase locally made content and products. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. There are a number of companies that are investing long term into Vietnam. And it's just like I told you guys about. When you come down here, you can see all the different ones. So a lot of Vietnamese names have appeared recently in the processing and manufacturing industry, such as Trung Hai, VinFast, BKAV, and Hoi Fat Steel. Okay, so yeah, of course we know their manufacturing is appearing everywhere. That's because everybody used to rely on China has now turned over to Vietnam. So I'm expecting something really big. 80% of the world's trade is goods trade, while only 20% of the services trade, he said. So, okay. Anyways, the point is, I was telling you guys, even I'm watching, again, long-term to invest in Vietnam. I keep an eye on it. It's not just the currency I'm invested in, but also eyeballing possible long-term things here. What is this? Monies. Stronger money policies might be considered to aid economic growth. So the State Bank of Vietnam could increase credit growth limits for credit institutions this year and even launch stronger monetary policies to aid the country's post-pandemic. Okay, good. I know what you guys want to know. Does it say anything in here about the rate? Yes, it does. It actually talks about how they are keeping the rate stable, but they've also decreased the values of the Vietnam dong this year so far. And again, I've been saying this, they are still, this is the third time now, they're still on the currency manipulation list. And I think the only reason why nothing has been done yet is because there's still a trade war going on with China. Trump is in the middle of an election, and we're dealing with the Rona. So my guess is once he's reelected, we're not dealing with the Rona. Then you're going to see a lot of people snap to it. They're able to get away with this right now just because of the tension between China and the United States. Again, like always, I'll leave all the links to the different articles, but it's just talking about the things they've done to save their industry. They've been very strong. They were able to control the coronavirus. I don't think they had any deaths whatsoever. They've only had less than around 300 infections. So this is really good. But anyways, yeah, this is policies are just making sure that the inflation doesn't go up. That was our concern. That's what this is really mostly about. But now back to the good stuff. local gold price reach a new record high. Of course, we've been talking about this now for quite some time. Keep an eye on gold and silver. And so, local gold price keeps soaring this morning to pass the historic high on July the 6th, reaching 50.52 million, or it's 2,172 US dollars per tael, which is 1.2 ounces. So that's about 1.2 ounces. Yeah, that's about right. So the price of the yellow metal went up in the global market. I was telling you guys that this can happen. Again, somebody asked me, does jewelry count? Yes, you can. Gold and silver, investing in jewelry is just as fine, but make sure it's stamped on there somewhere. They have to have the purity. It should say something like 18, 22, 24 carats somewhere on there. All right. And silver should have something like a 0.925 on there, stamp, you know what I mean? So you want to make sure you get the right stuff. But jewelry's fine. It's just as good as coins. I prefer coins because it's easier to move. There's more of a market for it. But the biggest holders of gold in the world, I think it's at 11 or 17% of the world's holdings actually is in the hands of women from India, or Indian women, like Fiji women, Indian women. They have a ton of gold jewelry. Yeah, definitely. So anyways, the market is going up. I've been telling you guys this for quite some time now to keep an eye on the market. I even showed you today that our own market, but I think I spot something. I told you they're going to try to hold it down is what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to find a way to bring it back down. And I think in the aftermarket, we've seen a slight drop. Hold on. Let's take a peek really quick. Oh, so the aftermarket stock's going up. I told you what they could probably do is try to artificially pump the stock market and try to drive down and control the value of gold and silver. It hasn't dropped hardly at all. I mean, it has a little bit, but come on, it's still 1862 for silver, 1805.30. It's dropped, but barely like a fraction of a cent. Okay, so yeah, you shouldn't be surprised when you see this. If it's going up here, it's going up everywhere. And right now, there's a scarcity on gold and silver, coin shortages. Everybody's trying to attribute that to the fact that we have the coronavirus we're dealing with, so a lot of people weren't able to go to work. I say it's BS. We're seeing a shortage on gold and silver around the world as people start preparing for whatever's coming up. When you start seeing the really rich people start moving into gold and silver, then you know it's time to move into gold and silver. All right, you guys, I just wanted to share this with you as usual. We seeing a lot of positive news always out of Vietnam. I mean, I look for other things in Vietnam, but I just share this with you to show you that if they have a strong economy and they continue to grow, obviously, what else increases? The Vietnam dong. Okay, because the stronger the economy becomes, the stronger the dollar becomes, you got to start increasing it, okay? Especially when other countries are doing bad. Once the U.S. dollar starts getting weak again, because right now it's strong because of what's going on around the world, but once it starts contracting, then what that means is our dollar is getting weaker, their dollar is getting stronger, they got to change the rate. That's what we're watching for. All right, you guys, if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it does help out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later.